Warning: Fortune and Strife features subjects which can be uncomfortable for a general audience, such as the use of drugs and alcohol, poor treatment of people of different classes or cultures, adult situations, psychological trauma, and violence. Listener discretion advised. Welcome to Fortune and Strife. I'm Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, and I'll be your host, narrator, as well as taking over for Shoshiro Bisho and Kuni Yui.
I am Jeanne, and I am playing Doji Gen.
I am Tyler, and I am playing Akoto Richi, and let's play some L5R.
So with Bisho's 6 successes, that will net us 3 momentum, bringing us from 4 to 7 out of 8. So we are just on the cusp there. So I'm going to say between the stories that Richi told and going through and having Bisho analyze some of the theological documents, both thinking about the cosmology of things, the signs that were talked about in some of the stories of the Smith and this grotto, and some of the taboos and how shall we say, a proclamation, I guess, could be a good word for it. But stating of where people should and should not go. He kind of pieces together that there is a bit of a unmarked zone into some of the maps and told where not to go and where not to tread, because it is either thought to be haunted or there are sacred trees and spirits there that do not wish to be disturbed. And you guys are pretty close to thinking that grotto might be there, but you are very close. Like I said, you're just on the cusp of things here. But that was your round without any interference, and Yoshio has come back with the documents that Tyler was going over and things like that. So he is going to be definitely concerned with the progress you've made. As well as it's starting to get a little later into the day, and his patience might be starting to wear thin. So I'm going to add a blanket +1 T into things, unless someone can take an action to soothe Yoshio and to possibly distract them. So let's go ahead and pick up round 5 from there. Who would like to go first?
Actually, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and take the first action here.
Okay.
And basically, I want to, now that we're kind of in that like final end game where things are starting to fall into place, and Richi wants to help start putting that and drawing the lines together and making it all a cohesive picture. So I'll use my action to assist again on this, just being like, here's what we found out historically, and then when Bisho and Gang come together, that should be the whole thing.
Sounds good. Bisho, God, does he just want to also give an assist to push us over the line, or does he want to try and distract Yoshio and to take care of some of the last little bits here? We just need the basic success for it. So let's go ahead and give an assist to Gin as well, and let's have her take us home with this research. So that'll be 2 assists, depending on what skill you want to use. It may be skilled or unskilled, so we'll find out.
Okay. Well, with 2 assists, I guess I will just try and put it over the top. I am going to be theorizing here about where this might be. Just the final bit of research to not only figure out where it is, but how it works in some fashion. And so I guess culture has served me well so far, but I could do sentiment if you prefer.
Both could work out really well. So culture is still, looking at the historical perspective, the cultural perspective, the kind of anthropological side of things, and whatnot. Sentiment might tell you kind of why it might have been hidden, or why they might have tried to steer people away from it. So if it's more, or kind of get through the psychology of with all this effort, are there any last minute subterfuges or distractions that they might be adding in? I think would be kind of covered by that.
I think I'm focused on just finding the facts out for this
Then
part. We'll see
let's
what
go.
pops.
Let's go with culture. Then yeah, let's keep it rolling there. So culture will be unskilled assistance from Bisho.
And skilled assistance from Ricci.
There you go. This is going to be a TN3 for the last check here.
Okay, thank you.
And for Courage Blessing will apply.
Okay. All right. Given all of that, I have rolled my 3 skill dice and 4 ring dice with all the assistance I had. I got plenty of successes, but I re-rolled a couple with Fukurokujin's Blessing just to see if I can diminish some strife, which I could not, but that's okay. In the end, I'm going to keep 4 successes, 2 opportunities, and 5 strife, which I am not super crazy about. Something about this is quite distressing, and I am not liking this.
So I think, excuse me, that Bisho will take 1, and I'm not sure if Ricci would like to take one of that strife as well.
Ricci will gladly take one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll take some. I can share my strife, but something is still somewhat distressing about this because I don't know what it is. But I am not going to use the opportunities to wipe the strife. I am going to use the opportunities to find a thing that was missing.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean by fire opportunities? You can spend it to find a thing that is that you're not seeing that is missing. Something is missing. Maybe it's a book or maybe it's something else, and I want to know that fact.
All right. So there is a tale referenced from many of the different documents, but has not shown up in anything that they have given to you. You are looking for for a book by the name of Kogetsune Maru Horana, the Little Fox Grotto, and or the Tale of the Little Fox Grotto. And Ricci is like, Kogetsune Maru is the name of the ancestral sword of the fox. It means little fox. It is definitely seems to be also referencing the grotto where the swordsmith Uka was found and taken back to when they traveled back to Senko. And there doesn't seem to be a copy of it here presented to you. And Bisho, who is now compromised, starts to get a bit agitated over this whole situation and is like, no, I'm positive they have to have a copy of Kogetsune Maru Harana. I know they do. And he speaks with such certainty, and he has to turn to both Kyo and to Yoshio and be like, oh, come now. I am positive that you have to have a copy of this work. It's so quintessentially Fox Clan, and I am certain that you must have it. And I mean, come now, Yoshio, what kind of librarian wouldn't have a book of such fame and of renown and importance in their library, especially a library for the Kitsune family and the Fox Clan as a whole? And he's really just laying it on thick, and he's pointing and needling at him as if he knows for certain. And to the point that he lets it slip that, and I'm positive if you had it, it would be right next to a divine copy of the dances of the fox, and both Kyo and Yoshio both kind of go a bit white when Bisho mentions that. They're unmasking and they are leaving themselves with an opening to their opponents by mentioning this book. This is a book that Bisho had stolen from the library 15 years previously, and something that had gotten Yoshio to become a sworn enemy of the persona that Bisho was in at that time. And Bisho may have just tipped his hand a bit too much there with this. And Kyo is the first to kind of recover and is like, "Oh yes, no, Kogitsune Maru Hodana. Yes, that does sound familiar. By the poet Resin, isn't that correct, Yoshio?" And Yoshio looks at him and is like, "Resin, but oh, wait, yes, I believe we have a copy." And he goes back and is able to finally produce this volume for you to look at. And it very much details the finding of Uka the swordsmith, who is thought to be a manifestation of Inari. Details about helping to forge the blade and take the unfinished work that was supposed to be a Kirin blade and turning it into the first Fox Clan ancestral weapon that was given to the Kitsune family when they were relocated. And very detailed instructions of where to find this grotto and what its properties are, and how it is a direct portal that the Fox Clan uses to travel to Chikshido when matters are of dire importance. The thing is, though, Gen, is you have a photographic memory, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you would not be remiss as a, or it would be definitely a remiss if your teachers at Shizuka Toshi did not drill into you all of the works of the Ronin poet Resin.
Uh-huh.
He never wrote a series of stories or poetry or anything named Kogitsune Maru. Like, that is not a part of any established canon on this famous poet of Rokugan's history. But these two seem to remember that it is clearly one of his works, and that, oh, how could they have forgotten, and are able to produce it. But it does get you your last bit of momentum to put you over the edge. You have now completed 8 of 8 for this, and you now have directions to a grotto beneath a cypress tree that will take you to Chikshido. At least you believe it will, from everything you've put together here.
Okay. Well, while Bisho is saying these things, I'm glancing at Rishi like, what? Okay, but I don't think that, given that Gen is, a doji, she's not gonna make waves if she doesn't have to. I mean, they did produce this book. It does have instructions, and there's the possibility it could be a different Resin, poet, like Kitsune Resin. The courteous thing to do, and Gen is courteous, is not to go and tell the chief librarian he's wrong.
Yes, you're wrong and a liar, and I hate you. No.
Not when he's actually, has produced it. So, I don't think that she has enough information to do any more than thank them, to be honest, for the information. We did not necessarily spell out everything about returning Sen Inari to Chiksudo to them. We were researching it for the Shrine of Inari, and we have found what we needed for the Shrine of Inari. And so, with this last bit, we, as far as Gen is concerned, that's what you thank them for.
Yeah, and Kyo is like, well, I'm so glad that we have this finished before the afternoon light has totally left us. Bisho, if you'll help me return to my quarters tonight, I would very much appreciate having both your company and your good eyes to get me back. and Bisho very much obliges to their old friend to help them back. And Yoshio begins to pack up all of the research materials you guys have been poring over with for a good number of hours now at this point. And says, well, if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and return these documents. But if you need any further assistance in any of your research on behalf of one of our patron fortunes, please feel free to call upon us at any time in the future. And he definitely starts to package things up, but make sure to take the Kogatsune Maru Harana and place it into the new scroll case that you gave him. Like, first things first, that's that which he picks up and promptly seals away back again from any additional prying eyes that need to take a look at it, and collects everything else and starts to package things up while you and Ricci start to leave, and Bisho wanders off with Kyo, and they seem to be talking a bit about the different dances of the fox, and that novel that Bisho was sure that the Kogatsune Maru Harana must have been next to on the shelf, that he was so certain of.
Well, I will bow, say thank you, dismiss them, and say to Ricci and Sueno, I think I could eat a whole tuna.
That does sound pretty tasty right about now.
And Sueno couldn't agree more with that. Yes, lady. No, let's go and find ourselves something to eat and something to drink and get away from all this. Who knew that academia was so full of pitfalls and subterfuge? It's like trying to get any answer out of a scorpion in here.
Well, yeah, there's that. It's when the people who are writing are also doing the subterfuge. That's pretty bad.
I much prefer it when you are trying to deal with just the simple facts and anatomy of your insects, that we don't have to worry about who said what and when, and what someone should or shouldn't know in this regard. At least when it comes to the subject of your pursuits, it is all fairly cut and dry.
Yeah.
You think they'll let me back in to study their bug books? Well, probably not anytime soon.
Maybe not, yeah. You might need another gift to get back in.
I bet they have a good book on bugs somewhere in there.
Oh, absolutely. But
Yeah, well, you can keep the libraries. They're a little too restrictive for my liking. A lot of scrolls and whatnot. I'd much rather be outside.
all right. So cutting between scene, if you have any strife that you need to bleed off down to half, go to half. I really would be surprised if anyone had built up any fatigue in that scene.
Only emotionally.
Only emotionally, exactly. So yeah, with that, you find yourselves making your way through town.
So, Gin-san, I have a request of you.
Of course, you are a big help today.
So, do you remember me talking about Kitsune Miyuki?
Ah, Miyuki-san, she's the one who you said brewed that lovely sake you brought while we were taking the baths.
Indeed, that is the very one. I have potentially made an offer to her son, and I would like for you to assist in this. He is well, the best way to put it, he is a young man who is slated to become a bushi with the lack of training thereof.
Oh, oh dear. Well, I admit that if I had gotten a request for you for help with Miyuki, I wasn't expecting to be conveying anything to her son. I thought maybe you'd want my paper collection or something, but please go on.
Well, I might still request that later on. But in the meantime, the son, Hideki, he has a mind for the scholastics, very much like what we just did. And I believe he's going to be, well, let me say this a little bit more plainly. Hideki has no mind for the sword, but he wants to heal people much like a medic and surgeons do.
All right. So,
Well, my issue is right now is that I am more than happy to recommend him to my own sensei for the Kitsu medic school. And with Hideki's temperament and sensei's methodologies, I think it would be a fantastic pathway for Hideki to follow up on. However, going to the lion for training with no martial ability concerns me. So I have made the offer that we would do a practice duel so that if he were to strike me, for him to, that would be enough confirmation for me to send him along that pathway. And I would like for you to come and officiate said duel.
I would, of course, be honored to officiate any duel, but um, I thought that the Kitsune had their own medical traditions as well.
They might, but at the moment, their biggest concern is getting warriors to the battlefield, much less keeping them there.
Yeah, again, you would know that with some of the recent tensions between the lion and the fox, which has never been a easy relationship, that there are some talks about even wedding the great nephew of Kitsune Gohai, the champion of the Fox clan, a man by the name of Kitsune Kuzunobu, to be betrothed to Doji Hitaru. So some of these politics are a little how shall we say, important to you as a doji.
Mhm.
And so yeah, this something along these lines, could be interesting. It could be used to possibly even soothe some of those tensions if perhaps they had some how shall we say, political hostages between the two clans.
Between the fox and the crane, or the fox and the lion?
Fox and the Lion could help some things, but at the same time, it could give you some pause if Kodo Kage and his machinations for what he would like to do to the Fox clan were to come to be.
Hmm. So, um, I think that we should definitely take a look at this duel, and if the lion would hurt a would-be healer who does not have great aptitude for the sword, I am sure that somehow the crane would be able to arrange a arrangement for the boy that would not cause any shame to him or the fox, and would allow him to use his talents to the best of his ability. But I'll be happy to go see in any event.
Well, it's not the fact that the lion would intentionally hurt him. However, in training exercises, things do happen to get a little bit more, no, let's just say there's a lot more controlled rage, but sometimes that slips.
Controlled rage slipping?
It's not a exact science, no, but it is one of the better ways I could explain it. Particularly with the Matsu, which is where I would be sending him.
Ah, yes. I remember our time together at Kutenmatsu long ago, and I do have to admit, I don't understand how the lion could go into battle, allowing their emotions to control their actions. So, but be that as it may.
It's not one of my specialties, but from my understanding, it is more or less letting the emotion guide you and guiding the sword to where it needs to go. It was never my point of training.
I think I could probably say a number of very wise things from Kikita that from Kikita's the sword that would probably sound very foolish here coming from someone like me. So let's go take a look at this duel. Do you think she'll make us dinner afterwards?
She would probably make us dinner now that I think about it.
Oh, you have charmed her so.
Well, it's not that. It's I know that she is also very concerned about her son's well-being and future, and nobody wants to duel on an empty stomach.
True.
I certainly don't.
I last time I dueled, I was too I had other things to think about than my stomach, I admit. But let's go. Let us go.
Yes.
All right, so you head over to where Miyuki has her sake brewery and kind of izakaya set up there, as well as a tasting room and a small place to eat. And she's just, Rishi-san, it's so good to see you again. And I see you brought another friend today.
Indeed. I have the honor and privilege of announcing that this is Doji Gen, who may be our judge for the duel.
And she bows deeply to you. I am thankful that he has found such a member of a clan who is well renowned for their Aijitsu training and their impartiality in these matters. It's not often you see a lion and a crane in such warm company.
You're very kind. It's interesting how the tides of fate can draw us two together. Please allow me to introduce my assistant, Suena here. She is samurai in service of the Doji family.
Mm. She gives Sueno a shallower bow, but still a rather right and proper one, and kind of invites you in a little further. And can I get you both something to drink while we kind of figure out what we're going to do about this duel that to stage for Hideki?
Well, before I do, it seems courteous to introduce myself to Hideki, if you would mind.
Oh no, not at all.
I was thinking that we might perhaps do this over dinner.
Dinner we can do, definitely. Let me go and get Hideki, and I will get something started for dinner. And so she goes and retrieves her son and brings him
As
out.
I would say, as she's gone, if Gin just happens to be looking over at Ricci, there's just a really big smile on Ricci's face.
As she's walking away, oh
Yep.
boy.
Oh, with the mention of dinner and everything. Don't let's not go there.
Of course, it's the dinner. It's the dinner. Ken keeps her face carefully composed there.
Mm-hmm. Heads upstairs very quickly and comes back down with Hideki in tow, who it looks a bit nervous to see a crane has been called in here to judge this martial contest with Ricci. Hello, my mother says that you are here to preside over the practice duel between Akoto-san and myself.
I prefer to think of it as just making sure that you are quickly, trained in the traditional norms and rituals of of dueling because it's something that everybody should be aware of. It's a basic part of training, of course, in my clan, but everyone should know the foundations of how duels are conducted under the heavens. But please, tell me about yourself. I have heard you wanted to study to be a healer.
Um, yes, my senseis unfortunately are somewhat against the idea that they say that there are enough of those to be found within the ranks already established within the uh, kitsune, and that right now what we need are more bushi, more warriors. With the lion trying to petition to have our clan dissolved by the word of a Kodokage, we are stretched rather thin in that regard of trained Ashigaru and samurai to lead them in battle. And my senseis have been rather, shall we say, aggressive in making sure that all of us are ready to take to the field if we need to in defense of our home.
Ah, I see. It seems odd to me, but tell me, what are you best at?
Um, well, honestly, it's not fighting. Unfortunately, I'm not the strongest or the fastest or the toughest. But I am smart. I'm a quick study. I enjoy reading and writing and learning. I like being outdoors. I like going and finding the different botanicals that my mom uses in her uh, brewing and cooking, and learning about how many of them even have medicinal properties as well.
Ah, right. As we sit down and for dinner, if that's okay, I'd
Yeah.
like to just make conversation with him, and I'm going to start quizzing him
Okay.
on medical stuff mostly, but like other scholarly stuff, and also on martial stuff. Just like a range of not super hard topics, but just like things I've run across that things like seem like things people should know, just to see where he really is at in his different spheres of life, whether it's combat or medicine or stuff. So, can I do that?
Yeah.
And I'm
Absolutely.
trying to keep
Absolutely.
a friendly tone while I'm quizzing him. So this is more like a water approach that I am thinking.
Absolutely. I think water is a fine one for that. I think water sentiment would be the best way to start it. Or did you have another idea in mind?
No, water sentiment is just fine. But I'm just kind of like gauging him, figuring out where his passions are and his, not any particular weaknesses, or just like what's he really about? Not what he thinks he's about. What is he really about?
Got it. All right.
And Ricci during this time, Ricci will be looking over at Miyuki and, not exactly making small talk, because I'm sure she's interested in hearing these conversations as well. But, just kind of enjoying presence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I will give you a void point to do this blind.
Okay, that's fine. Great.
And I'm going to say, yeah, no, I'll let you go ahead and roll. There could be additional information gained for every 2 bonus successes, as well as you can use opportunities through water to discern some things as well.
Okay, well, we'll just do a general approach. It's not the end of the world if I fail, but we'll see. Okay, what I will roll. I have 3 water and 2 sentiment. Excellent. Okay, so I have rolled. I have gotten 3 successes, 2 strife, and 2 opportunity. I will go ahead with that and use the and spend 1 strife to negate 2 of my existing strife, and so there's a net 0. And I use the other opportunity to try and just learn a little bit more about him, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So things that you pick up from Just Success is that he is he's very much rooted in Earth and his memory and his learning. That he has a good background for kind of you would say the scholarly or trade skills. That his martial and social and artisan have unfortunately been kind of left behind, even though they are kind of forcing him down that path. And that he, like you, has an incredible memory. And he has kind of those same qualities that you have, but is unfortunately, like he says, a bit on the kind of frail, gangly side of things. He's tall, but no real muscle or mass to him. He's a rather thin kid, but he does have the height and reach that might be useful in a duel. So yeah, I think that covers most of it there. Yeah. And that he's fairly detached from things. He's not super interested in what he is being taught, and he'd rather get into his own area of expertise. Yeah.
Well, I will at some point tell the story.
Back in the days when Shinsei walked the empire, one of his most ardent followers took it upon himself to teach the Tao to the animals, that they might become enlightened. He traveled to the forests, to the mountains, and to the rivers to preach to them, and the animals listened. One day, Shinsei came to visit him. "How well have the animals learned?" the little teacher asked. The follower shook his head. "It varies, teacher. The bird and the monkey are close to enlightenment. The bird sings your praises in my ears, and the monkey shouts of you and brings offerings to the shrines. But the serpent and the fish are fools. The serpent merely mumbles into the dust, while the fish ignores me completely." Shinsei shook his head. "I assure you, the serpent and the fish are closer to enlightenment than anyone. If you judge a spirit by how well it fits your vision of enlightenment, you will never know how close it is to finding its own."
So that is going to be the story I tell.
I like it. Yeah.
If he had only learned to teach the Tao in the ways that the various animals could have shown that they had learned it, maybe they would have all reached enlightenment.
That sounds like it could definitely be a void courtesy check, I think, is kind of taking me with that idea. But what are you thinking?
I'm more just keeping it informal,
Yeah, void performance or even water performance, I think would be really good here. Yeah, and I think since you're not trying to shake him to his core and whatnot, and make him challenge his own perhaps deeply held beliefs, maybe void might be overdoing it. So yeah, I'd allow water performance. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and try void performance. It's not great. I'm just hoping the TN isn't huge.
Yeah. And I will once again offer a void point to do it blind, or I can tell you the TN if you'd like.
I'll do it blind, though. I'm full up on void points anyway. We'll just.
All right. Well, you can spend it now if you'd like immediately. It's fine by me.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll spend it now immediately and then get the void point. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Let me do that. All right. So performance. I have 2 void plus 1 for the void I'm spending right away and 1 performance. And I got 3 successes. Straight up.
Yeah, that will get you success with 2 bonus successes. Yeah, you definitely are able to kind of wow this kid that just because he is being taught in a certain way under certain circumstances, that while it might look like he is doing poorly, that could just be the circumstances and the context of the situation that he finds himself in, and not that he actually is falling behind in his studies or in his training. And actually you kind of changed his whole perspective on some of this. And I'm going to say with 3 successes that you could turn off his unsure disadvantage for the coming duel.
Richie may not like me for it, but sure.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. That's that was
being
an excellent.
encouraging. I'm trying.
No, that was excellent. That was a well said story. In fact, I'm liking that so much. I'm thinking that should net you. I think it's a small thing. It's not like you sacrificed much for it, so we'll call that 1 courtesy honor. Which I think courtesy is the Crane Central.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be 2 honor for you. I'm Robert, or Bayoshi Shinichi, your host, narrator, and temporary Bisho and Yui. Thanking you once again for listening. Remember to catch new episodes every Monday, and if you want to catch them early or are looking for more bonus content, please consider becoming a supporting member of the Patreon at patreon.com/CourtGames.
I am Tyler, and I've been playing Akoto Richie. You can find me on my personal accounts on Twitter, at ChurcherGames, or on Twitch, also as ChurcherGames. You can find the show on the web at CourtGamesPod.com, on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram under Fortune and Strife, and on Twitter at L5RFNS. If you'd like to contact us, you can email the show at fortuneandstrife@gmail.com.
This is Jeanne, aka Kakita Kaori, and also known as, at least today, Doji Gen. If you like, you can find me on the CourtGames RPG podcast, at the Winter Garden of the Kakita website, or check out The Table Is Yours for fiction readings of the FFG stories.
This has been Fortune and Strife, a Court Games production in association with the D20 Radio Network and the Rokugani Historical Society.
Correctly with the correct amount.
D20 Radio, where gamers roll.